Henry Ford famously once said, whether or not you believe you can or you can't, you're usually right. And most of my life, I spent telling myself every single day that I can't do it, that I'm not good enough. Because people around me were also affirming the same. My high school teacher writing in my reports to my parents that Tim wouldn't amount to much. People around me who've never seen foreigner before, giving me racial abuse every single day. On top of that, I was going through social anxiety disorder, low self-esteem. I crushed under pressure. That's what happened to me a decade ago. That's why I decided to embark on this journey and commit to mastery. And ever since, my life's totally transformed inside it. And I'm sharing this with you because if you really pay close attention today and grasp this, not from your freaking head, but from your heart, it will change your life. I believe in myself at my core today because I discovered these three things. It's made a total shift in the way that my life is today. I live a life of freedom and abundance because I believe in my capabilities. And my hope by the end of today's video, you will too. So make sure to pay close attention, especially to the final one. Let's go straight onto the first thing. Write this down. It's detach. If you've got limiting beliefs in your life right now, such as what I used to have, I'm not good enough. I don't think I can do it. Oh, I don't feel ready. Oh, you don't understand. I failed in the past. If you got these beliefs running through your mind right now, I want you to realize it's not you. These beliefs are not you. As a child, watch how any child grows up. They're so free in the way they attempt things. They don't sit down having to force themselves to watch a motivational video. What do? They simply take action. If they fail, what do? They try something else. As a child, you was the same. You took risks. You didn't even think about it. Now, you might not remember that consciously because this is when you were younger. But when you were a child, you were free from fears. In fact, children only have two primary fears. That's it. The fear of falling and fear of loud noise. If you've got any other fears right now, this is something you've conditioned yourself to believe. All belief is, write this down, is a certainty of a feeling of what something means to you. There's a great story you may have heard before of an elephant in the middle of the field with a flimsy rope around its neck. And a guy once walked past this huge, gigantic elephant weighing a couple tons in the middle of the field and noticed it wasn't moving. And he noticed how this rope around his neck was pegged to the ground. And he almost chuckled. And he noticed how the trainer was actually next to the elephant. So he approached the trainer and asked, oh, how comes it doesn't run away? It's literally got the capabilities to run away. And the trainer says, oh, you see what we do is we condition this belief from birth. The moment the baby elephant is born, we tie the same rope around its neck and we peg it to the ground. And it's strong enough when it's young. So it tries to escape. It keeps on trying over and over again. And he just can't. And he grows up older. He does keep on trying, keeps on trying, grows even older, keeps on trying. And then one day he comes to a conclusion that it can't be done. I can't do this. It begins to tell himself stories that I'm not good enough. This rope's too strong. That elephant stood in the middle of that field with every single capability of accomplishing freedom. And yet it didn't. Why? Because of a conditioned belief, a limiting belief. You are not your limiting beliefs. You gotta have a routine, a ritual that allows yourself to detach from your thoughts. That's why I recommend morning, evening routines. Go have a look on my channel, Success Insider. I've posted so many videos of my morning routine that I began a decade ago to be able to condition myself, to be able to get clear and grasp to what are the thoughts? Who am I amongst all of that mess? All of those voices saying I'm not good enough. And to be able to detach my self-worth from my net worth, to detach my self-worth from results. Because realize this, if you are attached right now to results, well, think about it. If you fail that, what happens? You end up failing yourself. You got to detach yourself from the accomplishment. You are not your accomplishment. You are you. Believe in your capabilities and realize that you are not this limiting belief. Amongst all of that noise, you'll notice there's always that voice. It's a whisper. It's almost like a feeling. It's your heart saying, you know what? Despite what everybody's saying, despite what you're hearing in your head, I still believe in you. You're born to win. So do what winners do. Play to win. Detach. That's the first one. You are not your limiting beliefs. Have a ritual and a routine that allows you to accomplish this. Now, the second point is something that I like to call the $2 stone. And this is a story I want to share with you. And it's not my story. It's a story I've come across online. But you may know that when I was younger, I used to hang around with extremely negative people. It's no surprise, therefore, I had a lot of limiting beliefs. Because you become who you hang around with, as you know. And most people know this as a theory. But I want you to realize common theory is not common practice. You've got to hang around with empowered people if you want to be successful. The $2 stone goes on the lines of this. There was a little boy who wanted to know the value of his life. So he decided to go over to his father and ask that very question. He asked, Father, what is the value of my life? The father looked down to his son and said, Son, let me give you a real life example. He placed a stone in his hand and said, Son, what I want to do is go over to the next door neighbor and ask her, how much is this worth to her? And when she says a price, don't sell it, come back to me. And he was quite shocked with that response. But he thought, yeah, I might as well give it a shot. He was intrigued enough. So he went over to the next door neighbor, knocked loudly on the door, and an old woman answered and looked down at the little boy and said, oh, hi, how can I help? And the little boy looks up and says, hi, can I sell you this stone? How much is it worth to you? She looks at it. She wasn't very impressed. She says, maybe $2. I'll put it in the garden. And the little boy says, thank you. Runs over to his father and says, it's worth $2. And his dad says, okay, now I want you to go over to the museum. And he says, okay. Runs over to the museum. And he's looking around this huge museum with all of these huge findings, rare treasures, and so forth. He quickly sees the manager, approaches the manager and says, how much is this stone worth to you? And the manager looks at it and thinks, wow, this will look nice in the museum. I will pay you $2,000. And the boy was shocked. He's like, whoa, that's quite a lot. So he runs over to his father and says, Father, this is worth $2,000. And he said, looking down at his son, okay, one final time. I want you to go over to the jewelry store and ask her the very same question. And he said, okay, Father, let me do that. He went over to the jewelry store. And the moment he walked in, he saw all the diamonds shining in his eyes, glistening, all the gold, the silver, platinum. And then he quickly sees the manager of the store who owned this beautiful jewelry store. And she looks down at his son, and immediately she looks at his hand, the hand which contained the stone. And she says, oh, what's that? Are you looking to sell it? And he says, yeah, I wanted to ask how much would you pay for it? And her eyes are literally wide open. And she grabs it and looks at it. She says, do you know what you're carrying in your hand? This is the most precious stone we've seen in this jewelry store since we opened. How much do you want for it? I gotta have it. The son says, how much is it worth to you? She says, I'll be willing to put down $2 million for this. The son was shocked. He took the stone back, ran over to his father, and he said, Father, she offered us $2 million for this stone. And father looks down at his son with tears in his eyes and says, Son, do you now know the value of your life? It comes from where you decide to place yourself. You can spend all your life thinking you're a $2 stone, or you can place yourself in a place where people see value in you, where people empower you, where people believe in you more than you believe in yourself, where people don't tell you negative BS, where people truly treasure you. That's the story of a $2 stone. All my life inside that I spent hanging around with people who were negative. So it was no surprise I had a negative outlook on myself. They had limiting beliefs. I had the same limiting beliefs. We are, as human beings, adaptation machines. Where you decide to place yourself has a huge impact in your limiting beliefs. So make sure to hang around with winners if you want to be able to believe in yourself, Insider. That is the second point. Now that relates perfectly, all of this relate perfectly onto the third and final point, which is brainwash. Now, I'm not sure what belief you've got in regards to brainwashing. It's not the most positive labels brainwashing has. But I want you to realize, Insider, you've been brainwashed ever since you're born. You've been brainwashed by people around you when you were brought up. You see, as a child, like I said, you didn't have fears, right? You only had two primary fears: fear of loud noise or fear of falling. Everything else, you've somehow adopted. How did you adopt that? Well, as a child, you're trying out new things. One day, maybe you see like an insect, you see a spider, and you want to just go and touch because you're fascinated. And all of a sudden, you get a slap by your parent, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? And you can't understand what they're saying because you're too young. Or you know, you begin to anchor that you shouldn't try something new. Now, of course, they have the best intent at heart, but your belief is slowly but surely forming. Then you get chucked into the school system, the traditional education system, and you want to speak out loud and socialize with people, and all of a sudden, the head teacher turns around, shouts at you and says, "Don't speak unless I say you can speak. Put your hands up." And now you're following rules. So in order for you to brainwash yourself from negativity to positivity, you've got to immerse yourself in positivity. This starts every single day. Every single morning, you've got to have a routine where you're going through videos like this daily, where you're listening to empowering content, where you're getting rid of negativity like bullshit news. Don't get me started on CNN, constant negative news. It just triggers the part of your brain called the amygdala to be even more heightened in regards to looking at outlook of life in a totally different lens, which is fear-based. If you think news is covering news, I've got a surprise for you. It's not covering news. It's giving their reality of news, and they're often hiring the best Harvard graduates that know exactly how your psychology works, so it gets attention and sells more advertising and makes more money. So realize this, you gotta make sure you brainwash yourself every single day with positive content. This is what I used to do. I remember when I was going to college, I used to sit on the top deck with earphones in every single day, just listening to things that makes me feel good. Until one day I didn't even question whether or not it's true. Why? Because certainty, all belief is a certainty of a feeling of what something means to you. Realize this, Insider. If right now you don't believe in yourself, realize you can change. And I'll continue to believe in you as your mentor until the day you believe in yourself more. You're born to win, so do what winners do. Come on, it's time for you to shine. These are the 3 ways that I used to be able to transform my self-limiting beliefs to empowering beliefs. If you found today's video helpful, do let me know in the comments box. And do me a favor right now. Share this video with friends and loved ones who gotta hear this message. 1 act of kindness a day is what will transform people's lives. It will transform your life. Be a giver as well as a good receiver. And if you want more content to do with beliefs, do let me know, because of course I did do more than 3. I've been in this field for over a decade now, studying CBT, psychology, NLP, investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in different lessons and committing to mastery. So there's definitely more than 3. In fact, if you're interested in more mastery level content, be sure to apply to join our Success Inside Academy, because this is where I train people on a personal level, where we go really deep into the stuff. I'll chuck a link above, or you can follow the link in the description box below. Just want to say, Insider, as always, follow your heart, my friend, and take action, and go live the life you're truly born to live. I'll see you on the next video soon.